You know, we like to think we've got Earth pretty much figured out. Mapped, explored, explained. But what if I told you that wasn't true at all? What if, right here on our home turf, there are places so strange they might as well be on another planet? Places where our best tech just stops working, and other spots where life thrives in a way that completely breaks the rules. Today, we're diving into two of these incredible, almost alien landscapes.
And this quote, it just nails it, doesn't it? We expect our world to make sense, to follow the rules we know. But the truth is, some of the most alien places you could ever imagine aren't light years away. They're right here, and they really couldn't care less about our expectations.
So, let's explore that idea with two incredible case studies. First up, we're heading to a patch of desert in Mexico where technology seems to get a serious case of the glitches. And after that, we're going deep underground into a sealed cave in Romania, where biology literally rewrote its own rulebook.
All right, let's open our first case file, the glitch. This one takes us to a piece of the Chihuahuan Desert in northern Mexico. It looks totally normal, but it has this bizarre reputation. Welcome to the Mappy Me Silent Zone.
I mean, you look at it, and it's just desert. Hot, flat, nothing out of the ordinary. But for ages, locals have called it La Zona del Silencio, the zone of silence. And it's not because it's quiet, it's because our technology goes quiet. Radio signals fade to static, compasses get confused, and it's like a weird cone of silence just falls over everything.
For a long time, this was all just local folklore. But then, in 1970, something happened that blew the whole thing wide open. A U.S. test missile, an Athena rocket, launched from Utah, went completely haywire. It veered hundreds of kilometers off course and slammed right into the middle of the zone. And the recovery mission? Well, the rumors that came out of that were of total communication breakdown. Their gear just wouldn't work.
And look, the missile wasn't just some freak accident. The reports from this place over decades are just so consistent. It's this whole collection of weirdness. Radios die, compasses spin like crazy. Even modern GPS starts giving bad reads on a clear day. And then you have the stranger stuff, like people claiming their watches just stop, and the fact that an unusual number of meteorites seem to crash in this exact area.
So, okay, what's the scientific take on all this? The leading theory, the one that makes the most sense on paper, is the mineral hypothesis. The idea is simple. The ground here is packed with huge amounts of magnetic minerals like iron and magnetite. And all that magnetism could, in theory, create a natural interference field that just messes with our electronics. Makes sense, right?
Well, here's the catch. This is where that easy answer starts to unravel. Geologists are quick to point out that, yeah, there are other places on the planet with similar or even more magnetic material underground. And guess what? They don't have this silent zone effect. Not with this intensity or consistency. So the theory is logical, but it doesn't quite explain why this place is so special. The glitch remains a mystery.
Okay, let's switch gears completely. We're moving on to our second case file, the anomaly. We're going from a mystery of physics in a sun-baked desert to an unbelievable mystery of biology in a place that hasn't seen a single ray of light for millions of years. Let's talk about Moville Cave.
This place was found completely by accident in Romania back in 1986. And when I say it was sealed off from the outside world, I mean sealed. No light, no fresh air, no connection to the surface at all, for an estimated 5.5 million years. To put that in perspective, our own species, Homo sapiens, didn't even exist back then. And yet, somehow this sealed tomb was absolutely bursting with life. But it was life running on a totally different operating system. See, up here, on the surface, almost all life is built on sunlight and photosynthesis. Down there, it's all based on chemical energy, a process called chemosynthesis. And it's all happening in a toxic soup of an atmosphere that would kill you or me in minutes. It's a second, independent blueprint for how to build an ecosystem.
So how on earth does this work? Well, it all starts with warm water from deep in the earth, seeping up into the cave. This water's loaded with chemicals like hydrogen sulfide, that rotten egg smell. Bacteria down there have learned to eat those chemicals for energy. They form these thick, slimy mats on the cave walls and water, and that becomes the bottom of the food chain. From there, a whole world of weird, blind, ghostly white invertebrates eat those mats.
And the creatures that have evolved down here in total isolation are they're straight out of a sci-fi movie. We're talking over 50 species identified so far, and more than 2/3 of them are found nowhere else on Earth. They are true creatures of the dark. Over millions of years, they've lost their eyes, so they're blind. They've lost their color, so they're pale and almost translucent. And they get around by touch, with these super long antennae and legs. It's evolution in a ball. Okay, let's just step back and debrief for a second. We've got a desert that scrambles our technology, and a cave that grows life out of poison and darkness. They seem completely unrelated, right? So, what's the connection? Well, they both take us right up to the very edge of what we think we know.
When you put them side by side like this, the contrast is incredible. A sun-scorched desert versus a sealed, black cave. One is a mystery of physics, the other's a puzzle of biology and chemistry. But the thing that truly connects them is that bottom line right there, their status. For both of them, science basically has to write, "We're not totally sure yet." They remind us that our map of the world definitely still has some blank spots.
And it is so easy to look at these mysteries and think, well, I guess science failed, it doesn't have the answer. But this quote reframes it perfectly. Science isn't failing when it says, I don't know. It's being honest. It's admitting where we haven't earned certainty yet. And you know what? That honesty is exactly what makes science so powerful.
So let's land this thing. What's the big takeaway here? Why do a weird patch of desert and a spooky cave actually matter to us?
They matter because they completely blow the doors off our imagination about what's possible. Mobile Cave, especially, is a total game changer for scientists looking for life beyond Earth. It's a real-life example of how life could exist under the ice of Jupiter's moon Europa or deep beneath the red sands of Mars, powered by chemical reactions, not by a faraway sun. It tells us we need to start looking in some very different, very dark places.
And that brings us to one last, really big thought to leave you with. These places don't just challenge our science. They challenge our very words. I mean, if life can build a whole complex world for itself and thrive for millions of years in a sealed-off, poisonous cave, then what does the word uninhabitable even mean anymore?